there something you'd like to tell me?
Is there something you'd like to know?
I'm your wife. I know everything. Could you help me with something?
You will not tell anyone about this.
Hello there. We're going to call you Lili.
Now, Einar is Lili, but I know that in her diary she spoke in the third person, so did that influence your approach to the role at all?
Yeah, it was interesting to me because when I was prepping, I met many trans women and heard their stories, but then reading Lili's book, Man into Woman, which some people question whether it's an entirely reliable source, but in it she talks in language which nowadays would be perhaps incorrect, but what one has to remember, and Tom and I spoke about this quite a lot, was she didn't have any predecessor. She was creating the language. There was no vocabulary for it, and so that was one of the things that I found most interesting. Is it's their story. It's not. There is no one trans story, I suppose.
Now, I also read David Ebershoff's book before seeing the movie, and in the book, the version of Einar I pictured was not as confident as the way you portray him in the movie. Was that a deliberate decision and something you discussed?
Well, what it was for me was what was complicated about this film was you have the history of Lili and Gerda's relationship. You then have Lili's book, Man into Woman, which, as we said, is in some ways perhaps not entirely reliable source, but there is amazing information there. You then have David's fictionalized version of it, and then you have the women that I met who are and their stories, contemporary experience, and so in the end, and then you have Lucinda's script. So what I tried to do was take all of that in and then find my version of it.
Is there any one piece of that and of Lili and Einar that you really held on to that kind of pulled them all together?
I suppose actually one of the pieces of information that I was from a trans woman in Los Angeles who described her relationship with her partner, and they're still together after her transition. She said that it was about how deep her partner's pool of empathy was, and when you have to go through this yourself to find yourself, to give your everything and anything to live a life authentic, the cost of how much empathy your partner has to go through that with you. I think that's what I found really stuck with me when I then went and placed it in Gerda and Lili's story.
Oh, absolutely. And lastly, I just wanted to ask about the physicality of the role, and specifically what you do with your hands, because I know Lili is very conscious of that. So how exactly do you go about figuring out what to do there?
Well, it's interesting because I found one of the things is I suppose I saw it as Lili was born Lili, but that had been confined by society into her assigned gender, and so you see an image of Lili when she was living as Einar with these high starched collars, these tight suits that were like, I describe them as being sort of exoskeletons. But as she unravels that, because it's when she starts it's posing for Gerda, if you see Gerda's drawings of them, they were very high fashion. They were of the period, they were posed and stylized. And so for me, a lot of it was about observation at that time, and also that Gerda was painting Lili in more beautiful than she was often, and so Lili's relationship with the art of wanting to live up to what that was, and hopefully as the film progresses, that sort of that disappears slightly as she becomes more comfortable in herself and who she is.
Surgery has never been attempted before.
You're my whole life. It could kill you.
It's my only hope. This is not my body. I have to let him go. I love you because you're the only person who made sense of me. Who made me possible.